can watch this later. There we go. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys popped in. What I want to do is spend the next, say, maybe 15 or 20 minutes explaining the program, explaining the challenge, going over all the basics of it, some of the rules, the way the point system will work. And then there'll be a chance at the end to do questions and answers. So if you guys want to even just jot down your questions, and if you guys mute yourselves now at the end, then you can unmute yourself and we can go around and just make sure we get everyone's questions answered. Hopefully I'll answer most of them throughout the chat. But so the Lazy Macros Challenge is done by an organization that's called Optimized Nutrition. And the woman who runs it, E.C. Sinkowski, she's a level 4 CrossFit coach and just a nutrition guru. So last year, we actually did run her challenge with the 800-gram challenge. If anyone was part of that, you may remember it. So the Lazy Macro Challenge is part of that, the 800 grams plus protein. Because we find that most people today are lacking in fresh fruits and vegetables because there's so much processed food out there. They're also lacking in protein. So the two combinations is just trying to get everyone to get both of them into their diet in a level that's going to give you the micronutrients that you need. So again, it's called the Lazy Macros Challenge. 800 grams of fruits and vegetables a day, and then 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight a day. So everyone's going to have a different protein goal, and you're going to calculate your own goal based on your own body weight. Now, one thing is if you're trying to lose more than 10 pounds and you have a goal weight of losing 10 pounds or more, you could use your goal weight rather than your current weight to calculate that protein. So if you were 100 pounds and you wanted to be 90 pounds, which is not realistic, but then you would just base your goals off the 90 pounds rather than the 100 pounds, if you understand what I mean. But so you're going to calculate your own protein. Everyone tries to hit the 800 grams. So those two things combined, as well as 7 or more hours of sleep a night and getting a workout of the day in. So those are the different points that we'll see for the challenge. That's what's going to get you your points. It's 2 points to get your 800 grams a day, 2 points to get your protein goal of the day, 1 point for sleep, and then 1 point for your workout. So like I said, it starts on Monday, this coming Monday, the 23rd. So basically the 23rd, when you give yourself the points, the Sunday night before will be the night that you're looking at for that 7+ hours of sleep. So really it starts Sunday night because you want to get to bed at a reasonable time so that you can try and get your sleep in. Then we hit the ground running on Monday morning. So basically now I'm going through the what, when, how, why. The how is we're going to have daily accountability, and that's daily accountability to yourself, but also as a group. So as a community, we get to work together. We see each other in the gym, so it's also going to be a chance to kind of talk about this. And nutrition is really something that it's for everybody. Nobody is left out of trying to eat healthy. So we feel this can be kind of bring everybody together and be accountable to each other. And we're going to do that through the app that we're going to use is called Sugar WOD. So that's Sugar, W-O-D. And I did send you guys an email with some information on it today. If you haven't checked it or you didn't get that, let me know. But you do need to download that Sugar WOD app onto your phone or device. And then you'll be able to search for your box and find CrossFit Aurelia. And in there, then you'll be able to see already our workouts of the day are showing up in there. You can actually log your workouts in that app. You can't see it yet, but there will be a toggle or a drop-down arrow to the nutrition challenge. So either tonight or tomorrow, we're going to get each one of you added. So you do have to be signed up and added to get into the challenge and see it on Sugar WOD. Not all CrossFit Aurelia members will see it. If they haven't signed up, then they won't have that option. So you do the drop down, you'll see the nutrition challenge. There'll be some communication and content every day in the app. And from that, at the end of the day, you'll be able to log your results. And we'll be able to see each other's results. And at the end of the week, there'll be a leaderboard so we can see how people are doing, see where the points are. So that should be kind of fun. It kind of gives us a challenge to see where we are. There is prizes at the end for not just top points, but also for participation, and as well as just being involved in the community and transformation. So we're looking at points, and then we're also going to take a couple other things into account for that top first, second, and third place. The first place will get a hoodie. I think there was some protein in there, 2 months of nutrition coaching. The second place was a t-shirt, a mug, and 1 month of nutrition coaching. And then third place, we had, what did I put in there? Does anyone remember? I think, yeah, there was BCAAs, I think maybe a mug, and then a consult with me about nutrition coaching. So I'd sit down with you for 15 minutes and talk to you about nutrition, and you can kind of pick my brain. So all of it involves some kind of nutrition coaching at the end from myself. And there may be a couple other fun prizes along the way. We just kind of like to not announce everything all at once. So that's kind of the gist of it for that. We've already talked about the daily scores. So there's a lot of, I want to go over some of the rules. People have questions on what is going to be included as your fruits and vegetables. So the less processed, the better. So anything frozen is fine. Fresh is good. Canned is okay as long as it's drained and it just has some spices or something. There's nothing else mixed in with it. But when it comes to mixed foods, like if you were going to, or anything processed. So if you're trying to have something that's got all kinds of different stuff in it and you can't really weigh your vegetables, that's great to still have other things that have those vegetables in it. But we need to be able to weigh and measure our fruits and vegetables separately from, you know, kind of all of that mixed up stuff. So if you know you're going to have so much zucchini in your stir fry, maybe try to pull it out and weigh it as best as you can. What else was I going to say about the fruits and vegetables? If you're having an apple, for example, you want to cut your apple up and remove the core because we don't eat the core. Same with your banana. You're going to weigh the banana after you've peeled it. An orange, anything that is going to have something taken away from it before you consume it, you need to weigh what you're actually consuming rather than what it's like in its, you know, in its casing or whatever it is. So fruits and vegetables, you would include in that tofu would be part of your fruits and vegetables. You could include a spaghetti sauce per se if it was low in sugar, same with salsa. As long as your salsa is like a low in sugar, you could include that in your fruits and vegetables. The idea is to just have as much unprocessed fruits and vegetables as possible. Now, touching on the protein side of things, 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. And when we calculate that to try and get to our goals for the protein, it will be trying to get the highest protein sources possible. So like a piece of chicken or cottage cheese, maybe plain Greek yogurt, those are high protein sources. Looking at something else like a piece of hard cheese, yes, it has protein in it. It also has a lot of fat in it. So when I look at a hard cheese, it actually falls in the fat category of macronutrients. So we're not really going to count all of the protein in those items that have just a little bit of protein in it. We're going to try to aim for 0.7 grams of protein from the higher sources, like your seafood, your meats. Protein powders are perfectly fine. And if that's what you need to try and hit your protein, especially if you don't eat a lot of meat or you're vegetarian, you may find that you need to add some protein powder into your diet to hit your protein goals. That's perfectly fine. Of course, you don't want to have that 3 or 4 times throughout the day, but once or twice is perfectly adequate. So other protein sources, again, you could have your cottage cheese. You know, seafood is a great option. And I'm sure you guys will have some questions on that when we get to the end of it, but I just want to make sure we understand what is included and what's not included. Dried fruits, not included, because they're dried, they're a little sweeter, they have gone through some processing, so we're not including those. We're not including nuts in our fruits and vegetables, but beans, legumes, that kind of thing are good. Where quinoa, buckwheat, rice, those kind of things, yeah, they're a plant, but we're not including them as a fruit or vegetable because they are processed. So if it has gone through some kind of machinery to get to the product that's ending up on your table, then it's probably a no-go. All right. If you still have questions at the end about what is and what isn't, if you're thinking of stuff you have in your diet, let me know. But if it is processed, we want to kind of get away from that and think of less processed. So what else did I, there was a few other rules. Let's see here. So when it comes to actually figuring out how to keep track of it, you'll need just a basic food scale. So I have one, I've had this same one for many years. It was probably 20 bucks at Walmart, but it does grams and it does, thank you, ounces. And what you can do when you do use it is you're able to turn it on. If you haven't used one before, I'll just give you a little, mine actually says low battery. So first off, make sure you got some fresh batteries for Monday. I know I do at home, but I've been using it the last little bit. And I think it stayed on in one of my bags. But anyways, when you put a bowl or a plate or something on your scale, you can tear that weight away so it goes back to zero. Then you can add your fruits, vegetables, whatever you need. And if you're adding some, making a salad or something, you can add all of your vegetables and your fruits, then you get one number, and then you can tear that away. And then if you're adding a protein to it, then you can add that. And then you're kind of getting your weight for your fruits and vegetables, and you're getting your weight for your protein all at once, okay? So you can kind of build your plate using the scale, or you can do it all separately. You guys will probably come up with a method that works best for you. Just a simple sticky note or pad of paper, or if you'd like to use the notes in your phone, just a tally and write down your fruits, vegetable for the day and your protein for the day. And you've got those two numbers. At the end of the day, you'll have a total. So you'll come up with a way to keep that list handy as you go throughout your day. And if you have a really busy day, you may want to actually weigh and measure everything while you're packing your lunch or whatever it is. Maybe it's your lunch and your dinner. If you're doing night shifts, whatever you happen to be doing, weigh them ahead of time so you know what you've already got packed. And then you're good to go until you maybe have your next meal and you need to start weighing again. So you do need to kind of think ahead a little bit. But outside of the fruits and vegetables and the protein, we're not weighing anything else. We don't need to log anything in another app. We're not necessarily trying to add anything else to it. We're just trying to hit those two goals. Outside of those two goals, you really can have anything you want in the challenge. Now, I've had people concerned 800 grams is a lot. It can be, certainly if you're not used to getting that much. That's why it's a challenge. My tip for you is to start early in the day. If you're not used to having breakfast, if you intermittent fast or you don't purposely do it, but you skip breakfast, it may be more challenging to get that much in a shorter window. If you're eating only between, say, noon and 8 o'clock at night, you might have to try and get a little creative. And this is where we kind of break out of our regular habits and try something new. So I do suggest trying to get fruits and vegetables in your first meal of the day. I tried to post some pictures yesterday morning. My smoothie is packed full of fruits and vegetables. I put spinach in there. Avocado would fall in there. I've got all my frozen fruit. And then one thing I do like to have at breakfast, and it is dense and weighs a lot, is sweet potato. Sweet potato, you got to think of dense fruits and vegetables for the challenge. Does spinach weigh a lot? Not really. We know that spinach, lettuce, all of those things are pretty light, so they're not necessarily going to add up to a lot of weight. That doesn't mean we don't want them in our diet, but they're a good base for stuff. But then we need to think of adding some dense vegetables and fruits to our diet as well. And this is where we just start to get creative and start maybe trying different things. With the protein, 0.7 is, I would say, probably on the lower end of what I would regularly recommend. So it is just trying to get people to get that baseline of protein every day. Don't be afraid to go over it. That is just the baseline. That is just the bottom recommendation. If you're athletic, if you're working out regularly, it would probably be more like 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight. But if we're hitting that 0.7 every day, that's our goal. And if you get more than that, then that's great. That's a bonus. So again, that's my tips, is just to kind of be prepared for Monday morning with your scale. I would highly suggest taking a day this weekend and do a test run and just kind of surprise yourself and see where you're at, so that maybe Monday isn't the surprise day and go, wow, I only got 480 grams. I really need to figure out where I'm going to add it. Maybe try it a day before and just see how much you're getting in and where you might need to make adjustments. I'm sure that will happen over the course of the 4 weeks. And then the idea of doing this for 4 weeks is the habits start to settle in. So hopefully over that course of time, things become a little bit easier to hit. We start to tweak things enough that it gets to become more the norm. And by the time we get to Christmas time, we're used to what it feels like to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, how great it makes us feel inside. And then we may not crave and want all those sweets and goodies and all that kind of stuff coming up. I know it starts now, but really there's no need to start eating Christmas goodies now, because it's just like 2 months of just eating food that we don't necessarily need, right? So if we can do this now for a month, hopefully we'll hit that Christmas break with the ground running. We'll have some new habits. So that's kind of the gist of the whole challenge. I'd like to kind of open it up to see if anyone has any questions. And if you do, maybe just kind of like give me a wave and then you can unmute yourself and I'll say your name so I know who's going to be asking the questions. Does anyone have a question? Okay, Craig?
Yeah, question.
So unmute yourself, Craig.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Sundays. The gym's not open on Sunday. If we go to a different, like for the gym, the point for the gym, does it matter what gym you go to?
No, it wouldn't really matter. That's a really good question. I'm going to have to check. I don't know if we have a workout of the day for Sundays. So I think I'm going to have to check and see if there's even points for workouts on the Sunday. That's something I'll have to look into.
I don't know if there's people that are participating that aren't, that don't go to CrossFit, that are non-members. Like, do they have to go to CrossFit to get the CrossFit point?
No, like if they do their own workout of the day, if they do a workout of the day, then we would just give them a point for doing a workout of the day. It doesn't have to be CrossFit.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Absolutely, because anyone can join the challenge. Non-members can join it, and they get some work. They get what they would call a workout. And I mean, we're all kind of going by the honor system, anyways. We're not going to actually make everybody post pictures of their little sticky notes and stuff like that. That would just become too cumbersome, I think, to have everybody doing that. So it's basically the honor system. And so yeah, if someone does a workout on their own, absolutely we would include that. Yeah. Any other questions? Nancy?
Yeah.
Nancy, go ahead, Nancy.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. So as far as certain foods, whether they fall into protein or a fat, is there like a list that, like you used hard cheese as an example? It's a fat, not a protein. So I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of something else that doesn't, that I guess it's pretty clear.
Well, that's the thing. So protein, yes, there is foods. Lots of foods have protein. Even vegetables and fruits have proteins. Yeah. So one thing that I did read, and it said, if you hit your fruit and vegetable goal of 800 grams, you can give yourself 10 grams of protein. Now, I don't really want to push that. The reason being is I want to try to keep those two goals a little bit separate, because there is protein in fruits and vegetables. It just takes to get a lot of them in to get that much protein. I think that 0.7 grams is on the, it's definitely doable for most people to get that much protein. So let's try and pick high protein sources to get that 0.7. And then if we get above that through other means, then that's just a bonus. So yeah, there's going to be protein even in eggs. So like a hard-boiled egg or a regular egg has protein. I think it's 7 grams of protein in one egg. not bad. But to get a full serving of protein for a woman, you might want like 25 grams, right? So how many eggs do you have to eat to get 25 grams? Do you want to eat 4 eggs? Or maybe you consider eating egg whites instead, because egg whites, it's easy to consume enough egg whites to get 25 grams of protein because it's the pure protein of the egg. So that's where we want to start thinking of how we're going to get higher sources of protein and still try to consume that much food, because it does seem like a lot of food, but it's going to make us take away other foods.
Okay.
Okay. Next, who else has a question? John? Go ahead, John. I'll get you next, Ali.
Hey, quick question. Sometimes our WODs are like 20 and 30 minutes. So I get real hungry sometimes after these. Is there any sort of contingency for when you got to have seemingly another meal sometimes? Especially on those
No,
big WODs.
there's no rules around when you eat. It's just getting it all in one day. So, and there's no limit on how much you eat either. We're just trying to get to that 800 grams. If you eat 1,000 grams of fruits and vegetables and you're getting 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight because you had a really hard workout, that's great. What we're trying to do is just hit those standards every day. So I tried to show an example yesterday when I did my post on Facebook. It was a fairly normal day for me, and I had 967 grams of fruits and vegetables, and almost double my protein for my 0.7. And I was still kind of hungry after that, so then I had cookies. I was like already hitting my other stuff. So I'm not gonna lie, I had cookies. I had a glass of wine on top of all that too. So everyone's a little bit different in the nutritional needs. So these are kind of the basics. Honest to goodness, most adults that eat 2,000 calories a day can consume that many fruits and vegetables and that much protein. It's just how can you get it in and starting to think a little differently from your norm. So you can eat all you want, John. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. Ali? Ali, I know you had a question, Ali?
Yeah, now I'm picturing John drinking a protein smoothie as he's doing a dumbbell snatch on the virtual class.
Yes. Right?
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm hungry halfway through this workout.
Yeah. I have protein questions as well. I am vegetarian, so I know the protein's going to be a challenge for me. I use a lot of like quinoa and edamame for my protein. So would I use like, would the edamame still count towards my fruit and vegetables and my protein?
That's a good question. So the edamame, how do you say it? Can you say it again for me?
Edamame.
Yeah, I like it. I like those. They're so yummy. They would count towards your fruit and vegetable because it is a plant. So we're going to look at that and put it in your fruit and vegetable category. The quinoa will not count because it's more processed. So then you're going to have to start. No, because it is not a pure protein, and we want to think of high protein sources. So yes, it's a complete protein actually, but it's still not high in protein. And it does fall in the plant. Quinoa is one of those things. I love quinoa, and I'm not saying don't eat the quinoa, but we're not going to count it for anything in the challenge. Same with buckwheat and rice and those kind of things. So it will be more challenging for you to get that protein though, Ali, and it will be probably a good experiment to see if you're getting that much protein, because it'll be a way to kind of start thinking outside the box of where else you can get it. Do you eat tofu? Do you like tofu?
Yeah, so can I count tofu as a protein?
Well, it does fall into the vegetables and the fruit for this one as well. It is a good protein source. Do you eat eggs?
I do. I just don't like them that much.
Yeah, what about egg white? So egg white. So, and that's where I've kind of had chats with other people is, where are you willing to kind of change a little bit to try and get that protein in? And egg whites is a good source. Maybe another scoop of protein powder. If you do dairy, cottage cheese and Greek yogurt are good options. but it's starting to think about where else you can get those sources.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I see Nancy's got another question. Go ahead. Nancy?
Yeah, so Heather, yep. Heather, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So legumes said, you said were protein, right?
No, the legumes and beans are
Did
going
you
to
hear me?
fall in your
Legume-
vegetables. Yeah, vegetables.
Oh, they are, sorry, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because they're higher in carb than they are a protein, we're going to put them in the vegetable category. But we will count
Okay,
those.
okay.
Okay.
And then you said that
All right.
there's no limit on stuff like bread or whatever. I mean, you can have a slice of bread or whatever. That you can't not have
Yep.
anything other than you just have to get your stuff in every day,
There's
right?
exactly. There's no restriction. So if you get those things in, and then you have extra, if you're still hungry like me and just want to have a couple of cookies, you can certainly do that. So, and I'm not saying that's what you should do, but you got to hit those things first and then kind of see. And you might have a few days where you're like, oh, I might need to kind of take out this from my breakfast and put this in, because it's hard to kind of play catch up later in the day.
Okay. Heather,
Okay.
I got a
Yes.
question for
Adrian, yes?
Yeah, so those are the minimums. Get those in, get your 800, your 0.7 per body weight, and then you're still hungry, go have your egg, go have your quinoa, et cetera, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so,
Absolutely, yes.
and I know balance and variety is always great, but on the fruit and veggie side, I'm very, very low to nil fruit. Is it okay to, fill it all on the veggie side?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so many colors in vegetables. If you're going to have mostly vegetables and very little fruit, that's totally fine. We're not saying you got to have this much fruit and that much vegetable. You can have bagfuls of carrots if that's really all you want. That's not really the idea either, but if all you want is to have carrots and celery, I mean, fill your boots. It is about variety for sure, Yeah.
Sorry.
Kayla, go ahead, Kayla. Unmute yourself. Unmute.
There we go.
Can't hear.
I have
we
a
go.
question.
Yep.
You can hear me now? Yeah. About
Yes.
the weighing, that is raw, in the raw state, or after it's cooked?
So however you're gonna consume it. So
Okay.
if you're cooking your food and you're able to kind of weigh it once you put it on your plate before you eat it, then that's actually what you're consuming. Because if you cook it raw and then it loses some of the water and stuff like that when you're cooking it, it's gonna lose some of that weight. So you wanna weigh it and then eat it. So same with any of your fruits and vegetables, you're gonna peel them, cut off the parts you're not gonna eat, cut up your apple, cut up your pear, peel your banana, and just whatever you're going to consume is what you weigh, and then you count that.
Is there a good place to look up how much protein in something? Because let's say a chicken breast, it could be weigh 100 grams, but it's not all protein. So we have to sort of, where's a good?
No, you're going to take your chicken and it's going to be all protein, because chicken is all protein. That's why we're looking for we're looking for high protein sources for a reason. So you take meat, seafood, they are all protein. So you're able to take the whole, if you weigh your piece of steak, all of those grams go towards your protein. Whereas if you were trying to weigh something like, I like to make homemade protein bars that has some protein powder, it has peanut butter, it has oatmeal. If I was to weigh that, I couldn't pull the protein out of it. I could look at the recipe and say one serving has 9 grams of protein, which I did yesterday. So I did actually add that into my overall protein. However, I was like I was double what I really needed. So I know I would have hit my regular protein with just high sources. So we want to look at trying to just weigh our meats, seafoods, and things that are like a pure protein powder, cottage cheese, eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt. So those things that are high in protein.
What kind of cottage cheese? Any kind? Or does that lower, like it could be
any kind of cottage cheese. cottage cheese in general is high protein and low carbs and low fat. So pretty much any cottage cheese. Outside of cottage cheese, most other cheeses are higher in fat than they are protein.
Yeah.
So we want to minimize those and have more of the cottage cheese.
So actually, it's not that hard to get all your protein. If you have, you know, some sardines and some chicken, I mean, you're probably over the 100-something grams that you might need for your particular weight.
Yeah, exactly. It isn't, it shouldn't be that challenging, and maybe for some people, but that 0.7, it should be quite doable for most people. Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other questions? Adrienne, you have another question?
Yeah, so asking for a friend or Stephanie, alcohol's okay?
Stephanie wants to know. She's like got herself muted. So absolutely. So, I mean, alcohol is, nothing is restricted on this. Alcohol is processed and we're trying to minimize it. So I'm not going to promote drinking alcohol, but we're not restricting it either. That being said, I'm going to tell all of you guys, I've told a lot of people, I'm going to try to do the 4 weeks with no alcohol. That is the challenge I'm putting on myself. It isn't a challenge for everybody else. If anyone else wants to join me in that, they are more than welcome, and we can like kind of encourage each other, because I do like my glass of wine at the end of the day. And so this is going to be my challenge. So, but no, alcohol is not off the table for everybody.
Because if I eat my whole tray of vegetables and fruit, that's my reward, right? It just doesn't count as a grape.
Exactly, it's your reward. It does. It's not a grape. No, we're not going to count the hops in beer. We're not going to count the grapes in our wine. They cannot be weighed. They're processed. Any other questions? Yes, Kayla, go ahead. Go ahead, Kayla.
I was looking at the app. I downloaded it. I registered and everything. And there's some place,
Awesome.
I guess, for the workout. It says like scaled or RX. Like, what's that?
Okay, so that's our workout of the day. And if you wanted to log today's workout in it, you could. You don't have to. But when you see where there's a workout of the day, there's a little arrow. There will be a drop down, and you then can click on Nutrition Challenge. It may not be there yet. Do you have the app? Do you want to check?
No, I was really asking
We're
about.
going to check
It's not
right now,
there
Matt.
yet. I checked. But what I was curious about is the actual
It
workout.
might not. It will be there.
It says RX or scaled. What's that? That's for the actual workout. Like
So RX. Yeah. So RX was the RX weights for the workout today.
Okay. So I put scaled.
And scale would have been if you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So see it right. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see. This is Tara's phone. See, it says workout of the day, and there's a little arrow with a drop down, and it still just says workout of the day. But by tomorrow, probably there'll be another line that says nutrition challenge. So you can toggle between workout of the day and nutrition challenge. So you would click on nutrition challenge, and you can go in there, and only the people that have signed up for the nutrition challenge are going to have this. Not every member at our gym will be able to see what we're doing. They don't have the privileges of it because they didn't sign up for this. But we get to toggle through the nutrition challenge starting Monday. Actually, I think starting tomorrow, there's going to be content. So there'll be information. There'll be stuff to kind of get us all engaged as a community. That's part of the program. And then starting Monday, you'll see that you can actually log your score. So there'll be like, you can, and it'll say RX and scaled as well. I think it's for fun, but you're going to log your score and you're going to be able to put your points in. 2 points for hitting your fruits and vegetables, 2 points for hitting your protein, 1 point for your sleep, and then 1 point for getting a workout in. So keep checking your app over the weekend because it will populate you guys into it. I think Matt was going to get you guys set up either tonight or tomorrow with all of that. Okay, does that answer your question, Kayla?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You good? Okay. Nancy, yep.
Yes.
Nancy,
so,
go ahead.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. So question
Yes.
I have is, do you have to eat, is it preferable to eat the 800 grams of veggies and the protein, whatever the protein is, that, for your body weight before you eat anything that's not in that that's not in that category? Is that the key? Like,
That's a good
so for example,
question.
in the morning, if I wanted to have, let's say, I don't know, a cup of cottage cheese, I don't know how much that weight is, but a cup of cottage cheese and a piece of toast, is that okay? Or should I eat all the fruits and vegetables and protein before I eat anything else?
That's a good question, but it's also part of the challenge, and it's also part of your test day. So if you did a test day and you notice by 4 p.m. that you've only hit half of your fruits and vegetables, then you may want to have added some of that in with your cottage cheese instead of the toast. But if you hit them no problem and you had that toast, then maybe you're okay. That question will be answered for yourself. It'll be individual to each person. Within a few days, I think you'll start to go, oh, I need to kind of switch this up and switch that up. So I wouldn't say you need to pack it all in first and not have anything else in your diet at all, because you're going to end up consuming other things throughout the day besides fruits and vegetables and protein. There's going to be somewhere where you're going to add in a little bit more of something else, whether you're having some oatmeal or that piece of toast or some rice with your dinner or that cookie before bed. I'm not promoting that, but right. So you're going to have something else. So I wouldn't say you have to just get it all done and then move on, but it'll be interesting for you to use this as a test to see how you can get it in and still enjoy those other things. And then when we're done the challenge, we're hoping that you'll just carry on with that. It'll become a habit, or you kind of know how to get that in, and it becomes somewhat of a habit that you don't even need to really work on it anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Kayla, go ahead.
So you mentioned about low sugar spaghetti sauce and salsa. What is low sugar spaghetti sauce, for instance? What do I be looking for?
Well, you would, when you're buying packaged spaghetti sauce at the store, you would want to look at the nutrition label and just see how much sugar is in it, and you would compare it to some others, because there's going to be some, if it has more than like 15% sugar in it, it's like higher in sugar. So we want to try and get low sugar or no sugar. Then we know we're getting more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff in.
Okay.
So, I mean, you may not even need to count your spaghetti sauce. You may not need to count salsa, and we're definitely not counting ketchup. So don't ask me about ketchup.
That's very sugary.
That would be something my kids would ask me. It has tomatoes in it, doesn't it? That's a vegetable. I've heard that from my kids. It's full of sugar. Yeah. It's terrible. Yeah. It tastes so good. I know. Any other questions? I got Nancy. No, Nancy? Do you have a question?
Well, since I'm unmuted,
okay. I know
there was something with being weighed at the gym, or there was that sort of gizmo. I wasn't sure what that was all about. Or there was some
okay,
kind of
we haven't talked about the scan. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Kayla. I forgot to talk about the in-body scan. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a machine. It does your body weight, okay? But it does much more than that. It tells you a lot more about what's going on inside your body. It tells you your body fat. It also tells you how much water weight you have versus your skeletal muscle mass. So it breaks you right down to how many pounds of water, how many pounds of dry lean mass your body has. So your bones, your tissues, and your muscle. And then it also tells you how much pounds of body fat you have, and it gives you a total. It also can give you indications as to maybe where you can make some changes. So the idea is to get one of those scans done in the next few days, early next week if you can, and then we'll do it again at the end of the challenge. And that's going to give you an idea of what's working for you, and just try and help set some goals. In 30 days, if you're trying to lose weight, losing 4 or 5 pounds over the next few weeks could be an attainable goal depending on where you're at. And we'll be able to see kind of where you're losing that weight then. So say you do lose 5 pounds in 30 days. Did you lose body fat and gain muscle? Did you lose just body fat, but your muscle was also going down, so maybe you weren't getting enough workouts in? It does tell you a whole lot more than just the bottom line weight. And most of us just have a regular scale at home. And sometimes if you're trying to do something and you think you're working really hard and you don't see that change, it can be frustrating, but a machine like this also tells you that you're maybe building muscle at the same time as losing body fat. And that can sometimes, you know, muscle weighs more than your body fat. So sometimes your weight could stay the same or even go up, even though your body composition is changing because you're losing your body fat and gaining muscle. So if you haven't booked a scan, I did send one, I did put it in one of my links on the Facebook page. I will send another email over the weekend with a link to a schedule. And then you click on the schedule link and you can book a scan for early next week that works for you. It only takes about 10 minutes and it's not painful. You literally just would wear your gym clothes. You need bare feet. And I would just suggest you do it before a workout and don't have a really big meal or something before you do it as well. Okay, so you want to do it before your workout and just wear like, you know, minimal workout kind of clothes too. See you later, Marcus. So does anyone have any more questions about the scan and how that works? No? If you do and you think of something later, let me know. But no more questions at all. I have a few people, I can't even see their video screen. Hopefully they're just listening and they're getting everything they need.
I was going to ask,
John, do you have a question?
Yeah, are we going to communicate through the Facebook group mostly or through that app, or what do you suggest?
So through the Facebook is where we can share, I will be able to keep sharing posts that will get out to all the members, obviously, but they'll get to see all the fun that they're missing out on. Now through the app, once we get started next week, we'll be able to see, but you can make comments on other people's posts and you can give fist bumps and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of fun because we can kind of pump each other up and congratulate people on what they're doing. You can also like make comments on it. So we can communicate to each other that way. I think we'll just, because that's a new platform for us, I think we'll figure out what works best as far as the app goes.
Yeah,
but we'll still be using Facebook for, you know, for getting out any other information and as well emails, because we'll have a private email group for everybody that's in the challenge.
And I was going to say that's good as well for like, you know, the best practices of what's working well and what combinations of food. I would be definitely interested in seeing that sort of communication.
Yeah. And over a little bit of time, we're hoping that everyone will pipe in with their own feedback on what's working for them, because everyone can learn from each other in this. There isn't one right way to do this. It's like, what is working for you? And it might help somebody else. So I'm hoping that everyone will kind of start to communicate together and maybe share stories and say, this didn't work well. I really need an idea for this, or maybe share, you know, what is working really well. So people can also try something new and maybe it will work for them. So I think that this is just going to be a really great work up to that Christmas break over the next few weeks, and trying to focus on something that's maybe a little more positive and more on ourselves than all the stuff that's going on, craziness in the world. Like just with the changes in the COVID and the, you know, the lack of maybe Christmas parties and all of that kind of stuff, you know, it's going to be a harder time, I think, for a lot of people with, you know, just missing that regular type of Christmas that we're going to have. So this is hopefully something we can all focus on ourselves and our health and what we can do to make ourselves better. Any other questions before we move on and let you guys get back to your Friday night? No? If you do think of something, either send me a message through email or Facebook or Messenger, or stop me in the hallway, whatever works for you guys. I know this will be questions when we get started next week, and I'm hoping it just goes smoothly when we get the app going, and it should be. And then I think that we'll stay in communication, and we may do like a 2-week kind of touch base and see how everybody's doing kind of thing, or maybe we'll do something at the end. We'll have to figure that out. So, all right. So if no one has any other questions, we will shut this down and we'll move on. And if you do know anyone else that is thinking of joining, they can email me directly too if they still have other questions and they want to get signed up. Okay. So have a good night, guys. Have an awesome weekend.
How many participants are there right now in the challenge?
There's probably close to 40.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's about 40 people in it, so it's pretty good. So there's lots of numbers. So if you're wanting to win, you're gonna have to be really participating every single day. Every single
Okay.
day, get those log numbers in there. Okay? All right. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
thank you.
Night, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Heather. Bye.
Bye.